This conference will now be recorded.
Hi guys, this is Peter Olson with the critique. We're looking at identity packages and color palettes. I'm going to start off by showing you something that I don't know that you've gotten, how to use your InDesign template with a multi-artboard Illustrator file, because I noticed a lot of people just posted their Illustrator file or screenshots. So let's look at the template a little bit. So you've got these placed image boxes in InDesign. And if I want to place one of my Illustrator artboards in here, I simply select this picture frame. I can go to File, Import, or Command D on the keyboard. File, Place, sorry. Command D, I always use the keyboard. And then I navigate to my Illustrator file, the AI file, which I have here called the test. Now, this is the key thing. Show import options. Make sure that box is checked. When that's checked, it takes you to another step. So when I say open, it brings me to this dialog box, and I now have control over which artboard I'm placing in there. So clearly I don't want the envelope or the front or back of the envelope or the letterhead or the horizontal business card. I want my vertical. So once I get to that one, now you can also check transparent background, but make sure that's probably unchecked so that the background of your Illustrator file comes in here instead. It gives you a little preview. I don't have anything in this card, but I'm going to say okay, and it places in there. Now, this one is actually oriented incorrectly. I'm going to rotate it, hold the shift key and rotate it. And then I'm going to go to these little checkboxes here and say fill frame proportionally, and that brings it up to speed. The reason it comes in at an angle is because these picture frames have been rotated. So that's how you do it. All right, let's do it again. So I'll select this horizontal card. I'll go to File, Place, Command D on the keyboard. And then I go to my AI file, show import options is checked, say open, scroll to the horizontal business card, say okay, and it puts it in. Now it's not filling the frame, so I'm going to go up here to this little box here. It says fill frame proportionally. Click that, and now I've got it in. Once you've got this all done, you should export as a PDF. You can do smallest file size. See, export, smallest file size. Make sure you're saving it in your folder. And I can say, which pages do I want? I don't want them all. I just want this page, which is page 20. So I'm going to type 20. A good idea is to view PDF after exporting, so you can make sure you got the right thing. Say export. It's telling me that my color space is different because I'm doing smallest file size, so it's not doing a CMYK, but that's all right. Let's say okay. And there I can see it opens it up for me. I've got my PDF of this one page. Looks nice and neat. No screenshots, I don't need to do that. By putting everything in your InDesign presentation template, you're in effect keeping it really organized. So that's a plus. All right, so let's look at some work. First up, we've got Megan, and let's see. Yes, Megan, you're first. Sweet Tooth Gummies. I do like how your logo came out. And I think you've got the start of a good-looking brand identity package. Now, one thing I would say about your colors, you've got colors that are almost exactly the same value, and it really creates sort of a vibrant vibration there. So I would say probably shift probably the green darker or lighter to make it not vibrate like that. You're using your icon. One thing I'm going to say about your logo, I like the image, but you can't see the type. And if you look at, for instance, at the Full Sail logo, just try to match those proportions, because right now, even just looking at this from this distance, it's really hard to see the type. This borders on business cards aren't really a great look. I do like this sort of geometric color thing. I think you could do something more interesting with this, since it's kind of a fun product. Instead of just a couple of stripes, can you add some shapes and textures to that? Is there additional elements like from your logo worksheet that you could maybe turn into a pattern or something like that? So see if you can get a little more playful with this, but I think you're off to a very good start. Next up, we've got McKenna. McKenna, this is very nice, neat. It's a little hard to read your, let me zoom this in, your logo. McFeeney's Irish Snacks. All right. I'd say your type could be a little big, bolder and strong for your logo so you can read it a little better. As far as color goes, you've got the orange color you're assigned and then the red, and that's it. I would say there's more colors to be had. You could make it a little more dynamic, a little more fun. Right now, it's pretty conservative, like you've just got some stripes. Could you use a pattern, a texture? Could it be on special color paper? You know, what you've got is sort of a solid foundation. Now see if you can get creative with it and adds a little more branding to that. Evelise, you've got Layla's Fair Trade Coffee with the elephant. Your assigned color is this really bright pink, and then you're using a dark green. I would say perhaps there are more colors to be had. Make sure you're getting your full color palette put together. Now, of course, we're looking at screenshots again, so follow the directions of how I showed you to do this in InDesign. Comment on your logo. I would do the word Layla's really big as the logo type, and then Fair Trade Coffee would be small underneath. And maybe, you know, consolidate it a bit. Your type should be much bigger compared to the icon. Icon's huge right now. Additional elements. So if you're doing North Africa, boy, there's a lot of patterns and textures and things you could add to this to give it a little more branding. Right now, you're using 2 colors, and that's pretty much it. So see what you can do to add some more colors. Maybe there's a sandy colored paper you could use. So think a little more in terms of branding this. Next up, Rebecca, Osiris Coffee. And you've got the Eye of Ra and Osiris. Okay logo, it's a little clunky, kind of hard to work with, I suppose. You've got all the elements working there. I do see you're adding a little flair here. I would think textures, patterns, paper color. What could you do to give it a little more branding? Your typography, this typography I think is a little over the top. Like, let your logo be the logo. I do like your strategy here for a color palette. So you've got this violet color and then kind of the opposite, like, well, an orange maybe. And don't use black, that's not one of your colors. You gotta use something else. I would say try maybe a dark green or something. See what you can do to add a little more branding to this. Your letter has a lot of lorem ipsum. It's just sort of distracting. If you can put something else in there, that'd be better. But you're off to a good start. All right, Lemuria, you've got, oh, Barbarella's Twisted Snacks. There's the type. All right, your type is really hard to read. So make sure you've got a logo lockup with your icon and type, and the type is legible. You're using black as a prominent color. I would say probably not, especially if this is a psychedelic kind of brand. So look at psychedelic colors. Make sure your palette has some fun and playfulness like the brand. Right now it looks very serious. You've got all the elements completed, the design, the craftsmanship's good, so you're off to a good start. But think more colors, try not to use black. You are in color theory, so have some fun. Austin, blood orange chocolate. This is sort of the bare bones. Yes, you've got it. Your logo now is become just an orange. Oh, I see. I would make that peeled apart and revealing the chocolate a little more prominent. It's very tiny, so maybe explore that. The blood orange in the script, it's okay. Maybe chocolate's in a regular straight font just to set it off. Your envelope is super crowded. The type is gigantic. You should make room for your logo. Look at examples of envelopes and how they're designed. Go on Pinterest and see that, and you'll see right away what I'm talking about. For your business card font, I don't use script everywhere. Let the script be just the word blood orange, and then everything else can be something a little more legible. And then you really got to think about what kind of branded elements could you add to this to create textures, patterns. What about your paper stock? Is it going to be just plain white paper or maybe something else? Make sure it's a light color so that the black text can read on it, but it could be, you know, something else. So you're off to a good start. You got everything in place, but just see what you can do to enhance it a little bit. And also your letter should be like a real letter. This is just blocks of text. So, all right, next up, Ariana Solbeso. You went with the fig. I like the fig. I like this color palette. It's kind of fun. I see a textured pattern here. I think that that's an interesting pattern. I would maybe shrink that a bit. It's pretty large and disruptive. Like I would make it more, so it's more like a texture. Using the icon on the back of the card, that's good. Personally, I'm not a fan of borders on letterhead, but, and I think you have some more playful options perhaps. So consider maybe some other ideas for that. But I do like your color palette, and you're doing a good job with your logo there. Yeah, this is good. All right, next up, we have Victoria, Ionis Treats. So your logo is not really following the formula that we've asked for, which is icon, logo type. You're sort of surrounding the icon. The icon is just like a stick, logo, a pretzel stick. Everything in this circle, it's like low contrast, hard to read. You're taking script type, you're bending it on a curve, which makes it even harder to read. I think you're making life difficult for yourself. Also, your color palette is pretty much just green. So consider your other colors and how you want to use them. This currently is everything sort of squished together. I'm not sure why you're not using your InDesign template. It looks like a screenshot as well. This requires a lot more effort than where you are right now. So if you need extra help, reach out, but you got a ways to go. You've got to add other colors, you've got to add textures, patterns, things like that, and have some much better craftsmanship, because right now everything's kind of squished and stretched and not right. All right, Crystal, Tortuga jelly beans. I can see right away that this green is a RGB green. It's not a printable green. So I want you to check your files and make sure, maybe when you made the PDF or saved it out, you changed it to RGB. So make sure the colors you're using are printable colors. You're using a pattern of jelly beans in multiple colors, which is kind of fun. I think overall the color palette kind of works as long as it's not this RGB bright green. I would say this pattern maybe could be smaller in the frame, so it's like a little more like a texture. Your logo is the turtle. Maybe there's some other things you could do with this. It could be a little more creative, but it's pretty good. You're in good shape. Oh yeah, there's more. See, like these fine details in the logo really get lost. I would either simplify those, chunk them up or something, so you can see them a little better. But it's a good concept for a logo for this. So, all right, Kristen, salty dog sea salt caramel. So I see sea salt caramels, this sort of brushy thing with a dog face. Your logo, instead of being line work, I would make it more solid fills so you can see it better. Make sure you've got the name of the product correct. Salty dog, really big. Sea salt caramel, small. And okay, so this is sort of like the SD maybe. I think that's probably too much. So when you pull this all together, it's very caramely. I think maybe this is like a little dark for a letterhead. It's probably okay for business card. I think your color palette overall is a successful one, but there's some craftsmanship issues here that really got to get worked out. You need to do the logo lockup. There's salty dog, and over here it's sea salt caramels. Consistency is really key. So work out your logo, make it, you could do a horizontal and vertical version, and then just use that in here rather than rebuilding it each time and being inconsistent. Also, screenshots again. I want to see you start using that InDesign template, making PDFs to submit here. All right, Asia. Asia, you are doing Kukos chips. I can sort of see the icon. It looks like a shell or something. You've got this golden orange color and you're adding green, which is a good second color. See what other colors you can add and really start to think about this brand. It's fun, it's vacation-y. Could you use other elements to create more branded look for this? Right now your logo is completely monochromatic. I would maybe add some color to that. Maybe there's a Caribbean blue that you could add in. So sort of let your mind go a little bit and see what kind of other creative elements you can add to start creating a branded look for all this. All right, that's all we got for today, Thursday. I will be back tomorrow at noon to take a look again. I hope you guys are able to figure out how to use the InDesign template because I'm not seeing it being used very much. So good luck with that. Let us know if you need help. Talk to you later.